Hi everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I'm back with another review. Today, we'll be taking a look at, from the Transformers Generations Fall of Cybertron line, Fall of Cybertron Shockwave. This is the third figure in the line, and you know this because it says so on the side of the box. It's the first series, which I guess means first wave. And look, he's a Decepticon, because there's a half of the Decepticon logo down the side of the box. As I've mentioned in my other Fall of Cybertron reviews, the packaging is huge and very disproportionate to the actual size of the figure. Um, there's his CGI model of the in-game character, and there's a CGI model of his vehicle mode. On the back, we've got the usual photoshopping of the robot and vehicle mode, a bio with the old school, newer school lined tech specs. A very interesting figure, so let's get to the review right now. And here's Soundwave in vehicle mode. We're starting off in vehicle mode because there is an automorph feature to his transformation that is best shown going from vehicle to robot. Unlike the War of Cybertron version of Shockwave that I believe showed up in some downloadable content, he does not turn into a gun, which I'm a little disappointed about. They showed that mode in the first game. It was a Cybertronian type of vehicle slash weapon because Shockwave could fly in gun mode, as was shown in the comics, and I even think a little bit in the cartoon. Um, this is basically called a Cybertronian weapons platform, but really it looks like a giant starship. It is, of course, in the traditional Soundwave purple, which is, that not really Decepticon purple, more of a plum type of color. There's silver accents on the wing fins, on the sides here, as well as on the top of the fuselage, I think that part is called, which leads into the front cannon. There's also a little bit of translucent plastic here, and that's about it. There's the rear thrusters. All in all, I really do like this vehicle mode. It's roughly the size of the palm of my hand, a little bigger, which I do like. I think for the downsizing of the deluxes, this guy is fairly close to the original deluxe size. To start the transformation, we're going to do a little noodling to the figure first. Step one is to come in here, unpeg the boosters from the main part of the assembly, and straighten them out. They are on a double hinge, so it's very important when going from robot to vehicle that you bend on both hinges to peg it in properly into the back. Next, we're going to come in to the sides and swing what were the wings back. Going forward, there's nothing really to stop them, but going back, there is a definite end point. Next, we're going to come to the front of the vessel and pull out and rotate forward the side panels and peg them in to little holes in the front here, just like so. There is a tendency, as you just saw, to sometimes overshoot the holes on the front of the vehicle. Now we can start having a little fun transforming the guy. I usually like to start with the legs, or what will become the legs. You split them open, just like so. Like other of the newer Transformers, you can split the transformation evenly, either all the legs at first, or the chest, arms, and at first. as I've mentioned in the past, prefer starting with the legs. After splitting the legs, you want to come around and then proceed to unpeg this part and flip it up. After flipping it up, you can then come in here in between what will be his legs and remove what will clearly become his weapon. We'll put that off to the side. Next, you can flip forward his feet, and the legs are transformed. Having brought the camera up, we will continue the transformation by splitting the rear thrusters out. They are pegged into two holes right there, so that just loosens them up. We then can continue to bring this section forward, which will obviously form his chest, and by dropping it into the pegs here, you will get a little automorph and reveal his head. You can then go ahead and bring back up the arm sections, as they will peg into the side of his chest. Rotate the shoulders back. A little tip is, if you can see, there's grooves that line up, so you know you've gone far enough. Bring the arms down, rotate them forward so the ball joint is facing front, and then you can go ahead and little tap here and flip out his fist. And there we have Shockwave in his robot mode. Starting off our detailed look is, of course, that eye, that glowing eye of Shockwave. It appears the light piping was originally designed to come in through the head and down the chest. You can see it slightly, especially if I do that with my finger, but it doesn't work as well as it would have liked. There's more silver accents on his head, a Decepticon logo right underneath his chest, and some lighter lavender detailing on his legs. For articulation, head can rotate side to side. There's no up and down movement due to the spring gimmick. His arms have a wide selection of articulation. Rotate, swivel out, bend at the elbow. You can do that side weight bend due to the transformation joint, and the wrist can pivot on that hinge. No rotation at the hips, but the hips are on a ball joint, so you do have that bit of movement, and the knee can bend roughly 90 degrees. The front barrels of the cannon from jet mode make nice heels for the feet, so he does stand relatively well. We now come to one of the problems I have with this figure. As I mentioned in my review of Transformers Prime Knockout, the 2012 and possibly 2013 figures have horrible instructions that leave out certain steps in transformation or fun features. Shockwave is one of those figures. As you can see, I have his cannon displayed as it's showed in the instructions, him holding it in his hand like a pistol. For completion's sake, you may also peg it in his back in that hole right there. But for those of us who grew up on Shockwave, who know the character Shockwave, he doesn't hold his gun. The gun is part of his arm. He doesn't have two hands. He has a hand and a gun. That's what made Shockwave Shockwave. Well, thanks to quite a few adventurous YouTube reviewers, the solution was discovered. Let's take this arm, fold the hand back in, and just so you can get a clearer picture, I'm rotating it forward. There's a groove here on that hinge where the hand swivels. You would think that it's for the transformation, but it's not. On the inside of the rifle, where my finger is a tab. The gun snaps perfectly into that groove and looks like it's coming out of his arm. And thus, Shockwave has his gun arm. This is even shown on the back of the packaging, but no instructions on how to do this are shown in the actual instructions. I have an issue with that, but I've already gotten into that. This looks a lot better, and this is how I usually display Shockwave. One other thing I should mention is that many reviewers have shown that this silver part of the barrel can be removed. I can't. I've tried pulling it with a moderate to light amount of force, but it doesn't seem to come off, which leads me to believe not all versions of this gun are meant to come off, and the ones that do might be quality control issues. With the barrel removed, it's a tri-blaster that apparently appears in the game, which, as I mentioned with Fall of Cybertron Jazz, is something Hasbro is doing by including character-specific and then weapon-specific weapons in the game. So here Shockwave has his blaster, but without the cap. It's a generic 3-barrel rifle. But like I said, I can't get it off, and I really don't want to force it. Shockwave is the best figure in Wave 1 of the Fall of Cybertron Generations line. While some people might take issue with his size and perceived hollowness of the plastic, I don't. I recommend picking him up first before Optimus Prime or Jazz. Of course, saying that, he's the one whose short packed went to a case. This is your old pal Chuck, and for Shockwave, we'll see you next time.